What's in the box?
Yes, we know a movie with a title like Snowboard Academy is going to be awful, but is it awfully good? Find out as JoBlo.com takes its look into the campy and crappy and puts it into video form. I'm Jesse Shade, and this is Awfully Good Movies. At first glance, Snowboard Academy looks to be a Tower of Pisa of B-movie cheese, just by looking at the cast. You've got quintessential example of child star burnouts Corey Haim, Jim Varney, the artist usually known as Ernest P. Worrell, Brigitte Nielsen, the only thing Sylvester Stallone and Flavor Flav have in common, and Joe Flaherty from freaking SCTV! I mean, it's even got a perfect cheesy plot. Two brothers working at their dad's ski resort, one is a white bread skier, the other is an extreme snowboarder, and the two battle in a competition for snowboarding to be allowed at the resort. It's standard snobs versus slobs material. I mean, this seemed primed to be a slice of 90s goofiness that could stand up proudly on the shelf alongside Surf Ninjas and Airborne. Instead, I watched a movie that belongs only in the deepest pit of movie hell. It's the worst kind, a bad movie, a comedy made by people who know nothing about comedy. Now let me tell you how such a harmless looking movie can make me so brain-boilingly mad! Chris, the snowboarding rebel brother, played by Corey Haim, is never developed beyond being a rebellious brat archetype. You never see him as a likable anti-hero who's being stopped from simply having a good time. All he does is bother people who really don't deserve to be bothered. You see why his straight-laced brother Paul, who is second in charge at this resort, is constantly trying to knock the little shit down.
It's people like you who make me wish we could recycle white trash.
Also trying to take that little shit Chris down is the resort's head of security, only known under his code name Red Eagle 1. He's played up as a cartoonishly macho stereotype and mugs so goddamn much you would think that he was a root beer.
They forgot what? They forgot what? They forgot what? Ha ha ha!
The movie's plot thread, which is more the size of a fucking piano wire, is Chris trying to convince his father to allow snowboarders to peacefully coexist with the skiers. He does so with the help of his gang of friends, or at least I think they were his friends. Their personalities are so non-existent, and their chemistry with Corey is so unconvincing that I think they were just there to mooch some drugs off of him. The most memorable member of the gang is Sanjay, an Asian stereotype who signs up for their snowboarding lessons and makes Ken Jeong look as dignified as Ken Watanabe.
This lace is boogly tortoise. It's no fair.
Right on, dude. No fear.
No fair.
Right on, dude. No fear.
Chris and Paul's father, though, is a little too busy to worry about all this drama because he has a resort to run and a new ski lodge entertainer to hire, Rudy James, played by the late great Jim Varney. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I loves me some Jim Varney. The Ernest movies defined my childhood, and they're still great dumb fun to watch today whenever I need a pick-me-up. That's because Varney made Ernest so likable and so relatable that you still wanted to follow him even when he does something inhumanly stupid. Not so in Snowboard Academy, but that isn't Varney's fault. Where Ernest was just clumsy, Rudy James is borderline retarded. The script gives him nothing to work with in terms of character, and his setups for his pratfalls and jokes are so forced and hard to follow that you can't tell what could be considered funny about exchanges of dialogue like this.
She just married the poor sap so she wouldn't get her ass dragged back to Russia.
There once was a fat girl from Russia whose butt was so wide it would crush her.
Hey, my mother's Russian.
How am I supposed to get down?
Bootsy, George Clinton, or hey, my fave, James Brown.
Very funny.
No, it wasn't! All these characters have no realistic interactions with each other, and the actors have no idea how to make any of this funny. I mean, you would think that Joe Flaherty, a member of SCTV alongside Martin Short and John Candy, could find some comedic gold out of his constantly harried character, but all he does is switch between two facial expressions. Did somebody fart? And fuck me, I need a drink. He wants to be in this movie as much as I wanted to be watching it. Though this movie is shooting for a Caddyshack vibe, what with quirky characters, a big snobs versus slobs tournament at the end, complete with explosions, and a threadbare plot that allows room for comedic set pieces, it lacks the essential component that Caddyshack had: comedic genius. So instead, the comedic set pieces are as awkward as can be. All this movie tries to do is make comedy out of minor inconveniences that can be solved easily if anybody had a brain, and therefore, it is not funny.
Did I miss anything?
So in other words, this ends up being more Caddyshack 2 than Caddyshack. This was one of the most miserable things I've ever had to sit through. To call it one of the worst movies I've ever seen would be giving it too much credit. So let's just stick with one of the most miserable things I've ever sat through. Not once in this thing did I laugh at, or care about, or become engaged with what was happening. All I wanted to do was drink. Speaking of which, here's a fun little drinking game for you to play should you ever be forced to sit through this turd pile. Take a shot or drink every time you want to punch Corey Haim in his coke-addled face, may he rest in peace. You've reached yet another interminable snowboarding montage. Ernest P. Worrell says a swear word and ruins your childhood forever.
The hell was that?
No shit. I don't want my ass to touch the snow, okay?
You see an inexplicable spelling error that reveals the level of intelligence the filmmakers were operating on. You wonder what the hell was supposed to be funny about that last scene. And you can take a double shot when the movie reaches its end. You deserve it. That is, if you're not dead from alcohol poisoning already. As for any nudity in this flick to soothe the savage beast out there, well, this is a PG flick, so unless you find Brigitte Nielsen cleavage appealing after a Red Sonja days, then you're shit out of luck. And so are any poor souls who have to suffer through this death march of anti-comedy. On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Uwe Boll to Bruce Campbell, this ranks a full bowl, 1 out of 10. When it comes to skiing versus snowboarding, whoever wins, we lose. Until next time, this is Jesse Shade signing off for JoBlo.com, hoping that we have nowhere to go but up from Snowboard Academy.
Joe Blow, he sure